So if you really want to know the truth, had I signed 5 Flights Up to RCA, instead of taking them independent and ending up at Talent Associates Records, I am sure 5 Flights Up would have had at least 2 albums or more on RCA. Whereas at Talent Associates, though they had a hit record, our album wasn't released to Talent Associates. It sat there gathering dust where it still is. This is unbelievable to me because I had a great royalty rate. I got paid well for doing the project for Talent Associates on 5 Flights Up, and here their album's going to sit on the shelf. So look back in time if you want to or not. I actually did a disservice to the group by taking them to Talent Associates, because even though they had a hit record, they would have had a 2 or 3 year career at RCA minimally, even if their product wasn't getting promoted. So did I do the right thing? I don't know. Because I don't know whether we would have had a hit record with 5 Flights Up and me with RCA. And I know we had a hit record with Talent Associates, but come on now. Which was better for the group? Probably for me to stay at RCA, make my paltry little salary and my next to nothing royalties, but giving them a 2 or 3 year longer career. That's the spiritual thing to do. But I wasn't greedy. I was just doing what everybody else was doing, and that was leaving low-paid staff jobs and going out on their own. So that was kind of the trend. I had a mentor that was pushing me to do that. In fact, I had a couple mentors pushing me to do that, to go independent. So I did. And what happened? 5 Flights Up, whoops, 1 hit, and bye-bye. The album's still on the shelf. While at Talent Associates, I also did Linda Seal's first project, and I experimented with different styles on different sessions for her. And we got Angel of the Morning, which I liked a lot, a cover of the Merrily Rush hit. And I thought maybe we could do something with that. But Larry Utah, the president of Bell Records, our distributing label, didn't like Linda Seal's voice at all, and nothing was going to happen for her. Turns out that Bell Records dropped Talent Associates altogether and no longer distributed them, and Talent Associates Records went out of business shortly thereafter. Was I smart in leaving RCA? You tell me. So then I got a call from my attorneys, Jay Cooper and Chuck Hurwitz, saying, John, Herb Alpert would like you to produce his group Sisters Love at A&M. Would you like to do them? And I said, oh, hell yes. And this was, this was A&M. This is a great label, and nothing's going to get shelved there, right? And I'm thrilled. That A&M lot was so fun to be on. That's the old Charlie Chaplin movie lot. And it was like a bunch of cottages and stuff all thrown together, and it's a small community unto itself. I loved it there. And I produced what I think is a fantastic record, and I'm not as much bragging as that's my opinion. And it's called I Just Want to Be Me. Dennis Lambert and Brian Potter wrote it. I met them when I was at Talent Associates Records, and they were producing there. But A&M did not promote I Just Want to Be Me. Herb Alpert called me and said, John, I love that record, but A&M's promotion department did nothing with it. So, whoops, here we go again. And I got a mortgage to pay now. I'm not salaried anymore like I was at RCA. And I don't know where the next paycheck is coming from. I don't really know what to do. So I heard that Bell Records had the Fifth Dimension and Tony Orlando and Dawn and a whole bunch of other artists. They were looking for a staff producer for LA. They didn't have one. So I applied and quickly got turned down. I thought, this is odd because I'm a hit record producer. I know both of the guys that run the office there, John Rossica and Harvey Cooper. So this doesn't make a lot of sense. I want to find out. So I went to a convention that was in Century City at a hotel and approached Larry Utah, the president of Bell Records, who was in town from New York at that time. And I said, Larry, let me ask you something. Did I not get the job as your staff producer because you don't like Linda Seals, the artist I produced? And he paused and he said, yeah, John, that's why you didn't get the job. And I said, Larry, just because we can't agree on an artist doesn't mean I wouldn't be a great staff producer for you. What do you think? And he said, oh, John, I think you're right. Have your attorney call mine tomorrow, and you'll be the new staff producer for Bell Records Los Angeles. Well, that was just wonderful, because I didn't know where the next rent payment was coming from. You know, I'm not getting paid on my stuff from RCA because a staff producer, once you leave, you don't get royalties anymore, as paltry as they were. And Talent Associates is out of business. We didn't even earn back our budget on Five Flights Up with their hit Do What You Want to Do. So I'm not going to get any royalties there. A&M isn't promoting my sister's Love cut. And I'm flat out looking for work and trying to pay my mortgage. So I get the job at Bell Records. Now this time, instead of under $20,000 a year, it's $36,000 a year. That was good. That was appropriate for what was going on at the time, certainly not what RCA had been paying me. And I had a 3% royalty. Wow, remember 0.8% at RCA? Now 3% as a staff producer at Bell. The issue is you have to have hits to get that percentage. You won't get royalties if you don't have hits. Duh. So the closest I came to a hit at Bell Records was Larry Meredith's Sentimental Lisa. You can check it out here at my site on YouTube. And Steve Wax, their head of promotion, personally apologized to me and said, John, that's a hit record. I wasn't able to make it happen. I have regrets over that.
It's just Sentimental Lisa. She has followed me again. At the crossroads, she is standing in the light. Oh, if I heard it was so pleasing.
Well, I heard it played on an Anaheim radio station that did take a chance on it. You know, that's where Disneyland is. And I heard it between two other hit records, and damn, it sounded like a hit record. At that time, I don't know how well it's aged. You can listen to it, and you can make your own mind up about that. But here I am at Bell Records for a couple of years, and I got me no hits. So I got me no royalties, but I certainly am paying the rent great because of the $36,000 a year. So what are you to do? What are you going to do? And at that time, Bell wasn't going to pick up my contract, and I thought, uh-oh, here we go, looking for the mortgage payment again. That is not what the 22-year-old did when he came over, and that's me from LA, and just wanted to make music. You know, now I'm a responsible adult, and I got to pay the mortgage. Oops. So my contract isn't renewed at Bell, so while I'm in my final days of that contract, Don Berkheimer, the head of A&R for RCA, calls and says, how you doing with that big contract over there, John? And I said, I'm in deep trouble, Don. I haven't had any hits. And he said, well, look, I got this group. Nobody's ever heard of them too much yet, but they're called the Hughes Corporation. And I'm going to sign them, and I'll particularly sign them if you'll agree to produce them. Would you please go do a rehearsal with them? They got this great song, Rock the Boat.